relevant, reliable, and researched. This is Experts on Call, the show focused on delivering leading-edge news and information on today's most beneficial products and services. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. Sterling Fox with you, joined by Tony Juventu from the Condominium Homeowners Association of British Columbia, and lawyer Stephen Hamilton, a partner with Hammerberg Lawyers in Vancouver, is our guest on Key Pacific's Talk About Strata. And Tony, you and Stephen spend a fair bit of time every fall touring northern British Columbia, giving symposiums and seminars to condominium homeowners and real estate people and strata councils. And you at CHOA, the Condominium Homeowners Association, in a couple of days out there in the valley on Saturday, have one of those in a little closer to a home range. It's a big symposium in Abbotsford.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for people to actually also talk to some suppliers and contractors about projects and stuff that are on their homes at the same time.
Okay.
And the symposium this year is going to deal with basically understanding your depreciation report. You get it, what do you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you start planning for the future? There's a really interesting session on insurance and liabilities and risk, why we're seeing such a rising cost in insurance, how strata corporations can mitigate those costs and limit those. Cheryl Vickers, who is the acting chair of the Civil Resolution Tribunal,
who has been a guest on our show,
is giving us a very good update on the progress that's being made on the Civil Resolution Tribunal and the target dates and how that's going to start to be implemented starting next year. And then in the afternoon, we have a very interesting session that Adrian Murray is going to be, who's also been on our show.
Sure, yeah.
About understanding your relationship with your strata management company. A lot of strata corporations just don't understand who's doing what, how it's getting done, what the expectations are, where the level of authority is. So it'll be an interesting session on that. So anybody can go to the website and they can sign up off the website, or they can call our toll-free number, which is 877-353-2462.
And if you didn't get that down, you can go to the website, which is CHOA, CHOA.bc.ca, and all that phone number and all the other contact information.
Everything's on the website.
Stephen, now you and are you going to this deal on Saturday?
I'm not.
But you and Tony do this every fall routinely in northern BC. When you do these seminars and you make your presentation, and afterwards you have coffee and Q&A, and people come up to you and buttonhole you in the hallway, what are they most surprised by? What bit of information do you bring to these seminars that people go, really? I didn't know that.
You know, certainly as you go up north, they have a different approach to, I think, their governance issues. They've been doing things for a certain period of time in a certain way without the formalities of the Strata Property Act.
Okay.
I think they're surprised about some of the technical requirements about how you raise money, how you spend money, what kind of bylaws that they can have. It is a bit surprising to them because they've functioned often with bylaws that were registered when the building was constructed 30 years ago, and they haven't looked at it again, and they've just worked things out between themselves. And like many things, you don't worry about those details until something goes wrong. So they're often surprised about how technical it can be, and how technical can be around issues like insurance and those kinds of things.
All right, and what do you think people are going to be most curious about in a couple of days out there in the valley? When you go to these events, and you do them all over British Columbia, and people come up to you afterwards, what do they want to know?
It's the biggest issue that I think strata corporations are faced with is it's very difficult to have consequences when things go sideways, because we don't have a regulatory system over strata corporations. They're all independent corporations. So if there's a dispute or a problem, everything goes either into court arbitration, Supreme Court, small claims, that's where it's going. And so, the general public, I think, are going to be anticipating the Civil Resolution Tribunal with respects to how do we actually get our strata council to comply with the legislation. I know it's one of the issues up north that happens frequently. It's a little bit of the Wild West mentality sometimes. People actually say to us, does that legislation really apply to us?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it does. And it doesn't have to be up north. It can be in small communities in the Okanagan or the Kootenays, and where there's a little bit of removal away from the mainstream of media and then the mainstream of the papers and stuff, and they just don't have the same kind of perspective on the application. And the problem with that is they've been doing it this way for so long, and everything's fine until, of course, there's a dispute.
Right.
Somebody retires from the Lower Mainland and goes to live in a unit unit or buy a retirement home up north, and suddenly they start to question things. And that's where I think strata corporations get into some difficulties. Understanding that, yes, these laws apply to everybody in British Columbia. And the other side, of course, is that we are coming up to a different way of dealing with disputes in strata corporations.
And it's really important to stay current, especially with all the changes in the law, Stephen. We've got another change coming this week. They're just coming through all the time. And to be a successful strata corporation, you need to be on the ball, don't you?
You do, and it is difficult to keep up to speed, and certainly resources like CHOA make it much easier for strata corporations to do that.
CHOA.bc.ca, the Condominium Homeowners Association website. How about Hammerberg Lawyers? You got a website there? I'm sure you do.
I'm sure we do, and I think if you just punched in Hammerberg Lawyers, you'd find us.
It wouldn't take too long at all. And that's where people can contact our guest, Stephen Hamilton with Hammerberg Lawyers in Vancouver. Thanks for coming out and joining us on the program. Great to meet you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Tony, good luck with the seminar. You'll be a busy guy on Saturday.
It's busy right now, pretty much through to the end of November.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, seminars everywhere.
CHOA.bc.ca. Check it out. Fantastic resource. For all of us at Key Pacific's Talk About Strata, I'm Sterling Fox, and we'll see you next time on AM 650.